Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us both, the teacher and the taught, together by revealing knowledge. May the Lord protect us both by giving us the results of knowledge. May we attain illumination together. Let what we study be invigorating. May we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. So in Kathopanishad, we were on the 20th mantra, where Nachiketa finally asks the question, which will begin the teaching of Vedanta. Before this, Nachiketa had been offered 3 boons by the Lord of Death, Yama. And the first boon that the little boy asked for was that I should go back to the world of the living and my father should be happy with me, basically settling his worldly affairs. The second boon was he asked about the best Vedic sacrifice, which can guarantee heaven, one of those temporary heavens after death. So basically taking care of his other worldly affairs. Now he's asking the ultimate question. What is the reality about ourselves? Is there anything that lives after? Is there anything that continues after physical death? Or is there nothing? Are we just these bodies? And there also, he's not asking about the subtle body, because remember, he already believes that the body dies and then we go on to other lives. But what's beyond all that? What's the ultimate truth about ourselves? That's the question he's actually asking. Because the question itself, which he asked, is a little vague. He said, some say there is something after death. Others say there is nothing after death. I would like to know the answer to this mystery. You are the Lord of Death. You are the best person to ask this. So tell me. Is he asking about Atma, our real nature, existence, consciousness, bliss? Or is he asking about something that survives death? Even the subtle body, the mind survives death, all according to the Vedantic paradigm. So he's asking about Atma here. That's the general understanding. You can see that from the teaching which Yama will give him after this. He'll teach Vedanta, the nature of the our real nature, not the body, not the mind, beyond the physical body, beyond the subtle body, beyond even the causal body, who we really are. All right, but before that, there will be a test to see the fitness for this knowledge. Yama, the Lord of Death, will hesitate to give him the knowledge, not because he cannot teach it, he has that knowledge, he can transmit it, but he wants to know whether the little boy is fit for this knowledge. Now, what's the question about this fitness? Why can't we be given the if the knowledge is there, let's have that knowledge. Why bother so much about who is fit and not fit? If it's not fit, if one is not capable, 2 things will happen. One, straightforward, is that it'll have no effect. We will not realize, we'll not become enlightened. That breakthrough, the knowledge of Brahman, Brahma Jnana, the liberation, spiritual liberation, moksha, those things will not come. Going beyond suffering, those things will not come. It will not just not work if we are not fit for it. We are not ready to assimilate it, and that we understand. Any kind of knowledge, you go to a university, medical school, or a physics department, or something sophisticated, something very deep, unless one is equipped, we won't understand what's going on there. And here the equipment which he's going to talk about, it's not just some prior knowledge, you know this and then you come to my class. No, there's a moral, ethical preparation. There's a certain maturity which is to be had. After that, Vedanta comes. So that he will discuss. The second bad effect which can come if we are not fit is, suppose the knowledge is transmitted to somebody who's not fit. And now that person becomes the authority about that knowledge and begins to teach a distorted version, an even harmful version to other people. That can happen, and it has happened again and again in the past. So that's why Yama puts Nachiketa through this test. Now, what is this qualification and why is it important? So these qualifications are the fourfold qualifications which we have studied in Vedanta. When you start studying Vedanta, the first thing that you actually study are these fourfold qualifications. The first is Viveka, discernment between the eternal and the non-eternal. Put it even more generally, between that spiritual reality and our mundane reality. That there is such a thing, even though I do not know God, I do not know myself as Brahman, but by listening to this, by looking at our spiritual tradition and all of the spiritual traditions, I have a general belief that there is something very valuable to this, perhaps much more valuable than whatever I have in this life. So that's one. The second one follows from this, Vairagya, dispassion. Dispassion not towards Brahman, dispassion towards the world. So dispassion for the world, that all the things that I have in this world have not provided me with lasting satisfaction, have not taken me across suffering. Well, they have done a little bit for me, not really, because they are temporary, because they are insubstantial and transient. Once they are gone, they're really gone. Whether it is money or health or stock market options or my job or my status or husband, wife, children, parents, when they're gone, it's gone. Just some fading memories are left. So it does not give anything permanent to me. What the world can give. This is called seeing the insubstantiality, the transience of worldly things. Because things in the world do not last, therefore I have dispassion for them. I have consciously or unconsciously tried to make myself happy. How long have you tried it? As far as I remember, all my life, from my babyhood to childhood to teenage to youth, middle age and old age. In whatever way that all came to me, I've been struggling with trying to overcome dissatisfaction, unhappiness, and attain some kind of fulfillment, some kind of happiness, some kind of satisfaction. Everything has been sort of sand slipping through my fingers. Nothing has stuck, nothing remains. And if I go on in this way, I see no hope of doing anything better. That's the sign of sanity. They say the sign of insanity is keeping on doing the same thing and expecting different results. That is the condition of samsara. We keep on repeating the same things and we expect different results. It won't work. So this is dispassion for the non-eternal, the non-spiritual, the mundane. And this goes with an turning towards the spiritual. Then comes discipline. So this is discernment, viveka, dispassion, vairagya. Third is discipline. And that's a set of 6. So there's a little bit of cheating going on here. They put in 6. They've said it's number 3, but it's there's 6 in that. And we know these are 6 disciplines. Shama, mental quietude, mental calmness, settledness, not restlessness. Then Dhamma, an actual control over our body, our sense organs, physical organs. Then Uparati, a careful withdrawing from too much engagement with the world. Careful withdrawing from too much engagement with the world. And all these things we have studied in Vedanta Sara. In fact, this is where some Vedanta teachers will introduce Uparati means sannyasa, renunciation, monkhood. One meaning of Uparati would be, at this point you are expected to become a monk so that you are qualified for Vedanta. But basically what it means is, whether you are formally a monk or not, you require to step back a little from worldly engagements. You plunge too much into the social scene, then it's very difficult. Then number number 4 is this titik. So uparat shama, dhamma, uparati, titiksha. Titiksha means fortitude, a spiritual fortitude. No matter what the world throws at me, and no matter what the problems in the world, in my family, in my physical health, finances, whatever it is, I will persevere in my spiritual quest. Specifically my Vedantic quest, but anyway, in general, spiritual quest. I will persevere. I will not sacrifice spirituality. Usually spirituality is the first thing that is sacrificed when there is trouble. A little fever. So today I need not do my meditation. I have an excuse. I have a little fever. I remember somebody was aghast when I talked, the COVID first hit last year. This person said that, "You're talking about Vedanta now, Swami." He was appalled. In this time of crisis, you're talking about Vedanta as if the idea is Vedanta is this leisure activity, this nice philosophy talk you go to once in a while, you attend lectures by public intellectuals, by eminent speakers. But of course, you won't do that when you're in serious trouble. You have to confront this trouble. So why Vedanta in the time of COVID? No, Vedanta is, this is the time for Vedanta. This is the time for spirituality. If the spirituality does not work in this time, it's not worth anything. It just becomes, a little bit of philosophical sophistry or logic chopping. No, it must work. It must help me when I'm in trouble. Swami Vivekananda says, in one place he says, "I do not care for that religion which cannot wipe the widow's tears and hold a piece of bread to a starving man's lips, and yet promises heaven after death." He was criticizing the lack of social consciousness of the Hindus at that time. So it must help me spiritually, psychologically, even in this world. It must give me strength. So titiksha, strength, and then there is samadhana, focus. Yes, I'm reducing my external activities. I'm controlling my senses, calming my mind. But to do what? You are clearing the decks for action. What is to be done? Focus. Focus on spiritual life. Focus on your Vedantic study. Focus on your meditation. Focus on your devotional practices. Focus on your altruistic, selfless action. The 4 yogas. So samadhana, settle down on the spiritual quest. And then shraddha. Shraddha is a deep, abiding faith that what the texts say is right, what the teacher says is right, enough to sustain me through this long and arduous spiritual quest. And then finally, very important, mumukshutvam. Mumukshutvam literally means desire for moksha, desire for liberation, desire for spiritual freedom. How much do I want it? Now Yama will actually test this. Sri Ramakrishna has said of all of these things, the most important is mumukshutvam. Is the most important. Sri Ramakrishna's language was vyakulata, which is a Bengali word which means your desperation, your intense passion for God. Whether it's on the path of knowledge or path of devotion, the intense desire, I must see God. It's possible to see God. I must see God in this very life. This intense desire. All the other things, the 4-fold qualifications, discernment, dispassion, the 6-fold treasures, which are disciplines basically, and the desire for freedom. If the desire for freedom is intense, all the others will come. Now suppose that's all right, but my desire is a little mild. So desire for spiritual freedom is a little mild. Then what do I do? Then you have to start at the other end. Strengthen the discernment. See, there is an interesting link between these. One of the recent Shankaracharyas of Sringeri, he has written a commentary on the Vivek Chudamani. And there he says, there's a secret to be understood about this, about these 4-fold qualifications. It's not just given as an ask list, whether you have it or not. If you don't have it, goodbye. If you have it, you can come for the Vedanta class. No, there is a way to cultivate these. What is the way to cultivate these? Each one is causally linked to the preceding one. I'll repeat that. The secret is each one of the 4 is causally linked to the preceding one. Causally linked means the preceding one is the cause, the succeeding one is an effect. Intense desire to be free. You're telling me that's the most important thing? Yes. But my desire to be free is not intense. My love for God is not intense. Then what do I do? Is it hopeless? No. Strengthen those disciplines. Strengthen those disciplines. The 6-fold treasure. Calm down the mind. Live a life of simplicity and austerity, self-control. Then spiritual toughness. Then withdraw from too much engagement with worldly activities, then focus on Vedanta, have a firm faith in the teachings of Vedanta. It is difficult, or really, then the earlier step, Vairagya, a dispassion. Look into the faults of worldliness. Look around you. Look around you. As a monk, I come across many people from, especially these days, we're connected to the whole world, all walks of life, and all kinds of people. And one thing that emerges from all of this is the faults of worldliness. If you just listen to all of this from one end to the other, the whole spectrum, you will be, first thing you will get is Vairagya, dispassion. So this dispassion, no, I don't have too much dispassion. I have some dispassion. I don't think really the world can give me happiness, but still, I am pretty attached to the world. Then go further back. Viveka, discernment, eternal, non-eternal, Brahman and the world, spirituality versus the mundane life. Yes, but how do I develop that? Vedanta. Study Vedanta. The more you listen to this, more you think about it. Study the lives of the saints, study devotional texts, study Vedantic texts. That itself will give you the qualifications. See, you say qualifications to enter Vedanta, but if you study Vedanta, it may not work. The more and more you listen, the more it will begin to take hold. In Hindi, they have a term, pachta nahi, it's not digested. It will be digested if you stay with it. It will begin to take effect. I remember when we were new brahmacharis, just joined the order. In one ashram where I was there for some time, there was a great pandit who used to come and teach, and all the monks, those who were ordained with the swamis, they used to go and attend the class in that ashram. And we, the newcomers, we were encouraged. We didn't understand anything, but we were encouraged. Come, sit, listen. You'll get it slowly, little by little you'll understand. So the fourfold qualifications, and ultimately there must be an intense desire to break free of this dissatisfactory state of affairs, and that is what Yama is testing him. Yama is going to test. Let us see. When we studied economics, the first thing we were taught in the economics class is demand and supply. So demand in the microeconomics class. And I still remember the teacher wrote, demand is equal to desire plus ability to pay plus willingness to pay. So desire. We have desire for so many things. The entire, you walk down Fifth Avenue here, people have desire for so many things, all on the shopping, nicely displayed there. This, that, all are nice, fancy things. Desire is there. Is that demand? Does that do any good to the shopkeeper? No. I have desire for all of that, but of course I don't have $1 in my pocket. Then no good. The shopkeeper is not interested in me. But I have desire and I have the money. All right. So will you pay for it? No. I have desire, but not enough desire to pay for all these trinkets. I don't want to waste my valuable money buying all these trinkets. Then that's also not demand for the shopkeeper. For the shopkeeper, demand is when you want something and you have the ability to pay for it and you're willing to pay for it. So then what you do, you want it, you can buy it, and you are willing to buy it. And you go in there and you buy it. Now Yama is testing Nachiketa. So does he have the capacity to demand Vedanta? Does he want it first? And does he want it enough to, is he capable? And is he willing to put forth that effort? So you want it enough to put forth that much effort, and at all is he capable at all? So he now tests. And remember, this is something we see now also. I've seen in monastic orders, in our order, for example, the monks keep talking about spirituality, God realization, spiritual practice, and so on and so forth. But when the young man comes up at the monastery and wanting to be a monk, he's in for a surprise. because then the monks seem to backpedal. They say, are you sure? Give it some time, think about it. I had a friend, so they will discourage at first. What's the point of discouraging? Not that they don't want the young man to be a monk. If that young man wants to be a monk, very good. But one must be absolutely sure. And we say on your own power, not because I told you or somebody inspired you, then you can blame that person later on, things don't work out. No, you must come into a monastery on your own power. That means on your you want it very badly. That's why you are here. Not that we called you in or we told you to stay. So I have a friend who's a doctor, an MD, anesthesiologist, and so he told me how he became a monk. He was inspired. He came to our main monastery in Belur, and he went to a very senior Swami there, the general secretary of the order. Why have you come? I want to join and be a monk. And he said, sit down here. And then he said that the general secretary of the order which have come with such great hopes to become a monk of, he gave me a half-an-hour lecture on the disadvantages of monastic life. And then after that, he said, so what do you think? Are you going to be a monk now? And my friend said, yes, I want to be a monk. And the general secretary said, very good. You go and go there and you join that place. Yes. So it's a test. Yama is going to test Nachiketa. This is mantra number 21. Devayratrapi vichikitsitam pura nahi suvijneyam anuresha dharma anyam varam nachiketo vrinishva mamo parotsi ratima srijainam. With regard to this, even the gods entertained doubts in days of yore. For being subtle, this substance, the self, is not truly comprehended. O Nachiketa, ask for some other boon. Do not press me. Give up this boon that is demanded of me. So the Lord of Death says, in ancient times, even the gods, what to speak of ordinary people or a little boy like you, even the gods were confused about this. Atra means here. Here means in this issue, in this question, what you have asked me about the Atma, about the Atman. Gods were, even the gods were confused about this, the nature of ultimate reality, who we really are, what's going on here, what's the ultimate reality about life. Even the gods were deluded. Who are the gods? Gods with small g, the Devatas. They are beings like us, but far superior to us. And so they have been born with divine bodies due to a lot of good past karma. So they live in heavens, multiple heavens are there, and so on. So they're very, very powerful beings. Yama is one of them. Yama, the Lord of Death, is one of those gods, one of the powerful ones. Now, for example, in the Keno Upanishad, which we will do later, in the Keno Upanishad, you find the gods are puzzled by the nature of ultimate reality. The ultimate reality, Brahman, appears before them. And then the story is that there's a nice little story. The gods think, what is this? What's this reality? What's this amazing being which has appeared? And they ask the god of fire, go and find out who this being is. The god of fire goes there. Before he can speak, this amazing being, who's none other than Brahman, the ultimate reality, asks, who are you? What's your power? And the god of fire says, I am fire, and I can burn anything in this universe. And then Brahman, that strange being, he throws down a piece of straw and says, burn this. And fire, blazed forth, all kinds, very high temperatures, blazing fire. Nothing happened. The straw wasn't even singed. So he admitted defeat and he returned, unable to understand who that ultimate reality is, or that being is. Then they asked the god of wind, Vayu, go there and find out who this strange being is. And the god of wind rushed there in all enthusiasm. And the same thing happened. Brahman asked that god, who are you and what's your power, your superpower? And Vayu says, I am the god of wind. I can blow away anything in this universe. Well, blow away this piece of straw. And he huffed and puffed and tried his best, but the little piece of straw didn't move. So he was defeated. He came back, and so on. And then the Lord of all the gods, Indra, the king of gods, he goes, and so on. What's the point of that story? There's an inner meaning to that. The gods there symbolize the different powers of our indriyas, the power to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, to think, comprehend. None of them can objectify or capture Brahman. You can't see Brahman, you can't, and so on. Not only that, the deeper meaning of that is all those powers come from Brahman. Like the power of the fire god to burn, the power of the wind god to blow things away. All powers originate from one ultimate reality. And that is you, actually. You shining, your eyes have the capacity of seeing and get the experience of seeing. You, pure consciousness, shining through the mind and through the ears, you have the capacity of experiencing sound, taste, smell, touch. You have the capacity of thinking and understanding and remembering and desiring and hating. All of these experiences are possible because pure consciousness, Atman, Brahman, the same thing. That's your real nature. You shine upon this conglomerate of mind and the senses. That's the meaning of the story. But also, it's also true that the gods were puzzled. And in the end of the story, the gods were illumined. So a set of the highest gods, Indra and this Yama, so they were ultimately illumined. So they realized that we are Brahman. That's why Yama is a teacher. That's why he can teach. He's not confused himself. So he says, but the gods were confused about this in ancient times. And I gave you one story of how the gods were confused about the nature of ultimate reality. Why were they confused? Na suvigyayam. It is not easily understood. It cannot be truly comprehended. Truly comprehended and easily understood. Easily understood means it's very subtle. That's why it cannot be easily understood. Truly comprehended means it cannot be made an object of a determinative knowledge. That means this is it. Because all this is it is powered by that one consciousness. You cannot reduce gold to one type of ornament. Yes, gold is a bracelet. Could be any other thing, but it's basically a bracelet. No, it isn't. So what should we do? And why is it difficult to understand? Anuresha dharma. Here, dharma means the Atman. See, dharma normally means the code of morality, ethics. And adharma means being immoral or unethical. Here, it applies to the Atman. In fact, multiple meanings are there of dharma. Just like karma, for example, multiple meanings. Yoga, for example, multiple meanings. Dharma has the largest number of meanings. One meaning is, of course, religion, morality, ethics. Another meaning is the good karma, in Sanskrit punya, the good karma that one gets by performing Vedic rituals, which will take you to heaven after death. That's a very specific meaning of dharma. Then another meaning of dharma is sentient being, jivas. We are all dharmas. Mandukya Karika uses that in that sense, that all beings, these are called dharmas. There are other meanings which are given in Buddhism. Every particle of reality is called a dharma, for example, in Buddhism, certain schools of Buddhism. Here, Atma itself is called a dharma. The ultimate reality is called the dharma. Why would you say, why so many meanings? Is there something common to all of them? There is. Dharanat. Dhri means to hold. The etymological meaning of dharma is to hold together. So you look at the uses. Morality or ethics holds society, civilization together and gives personal integrity. Your dharma is that which gives integrity to your character. So that's the meaning of dharma, that which holds things together. Every object has its own dharma. The sentient being, the jiva, is what holds this body mind together, and that's why we have this life of our own. And ultimately, it is Atman which holds everything together, because it is the reality of all things. So in every case, it is etymologically, you can derive why they are called dharma. Anyway, that discussion aside, this dharma, that means Atman, is exceedingly subtle. Anu means atom. So it's exceedingly atomic, means not small, not tiny. Atman is vast, all-pervading, not limited by time, space, or object. True. But here it means subtle, because atoms are subtle, in that sense, subtle. Therefore, cannot be known as an object and is not easy to know because of its subtlety. And then he says, ask for something else. Anyam vara nachiketo vrinishva. Ask for something else. Why ask for something else? Because it's difficult, because it may not give any result. Shankaracharya explains this in his commentary. Don't waste a boon. Nachiketa, you're a clever boy. You asked for good things, the first boon and second boon, so you are really good at this. But don't waste this. You are going to get, if you ask me, I'll give you a Vedanta class, but you've just wasted a boon on a Vedanta class. So ask for something else. And he knows, Yama knows that he's in a caught because he has promised to give Nachiketa whatever he asks. So he pleads for Nachiketa to let him off the hook, as Americans would say. Mam uparotsi, do not press me on this. Do not push me on this. Adima srijainam, don't press me. Let me off. Let me off this, because I have promised you, if you really want it, I'll have to speak to you about it, but it's difficult. You probably won't get it, and you have wasted the boon. And later on, in other verses, coming mantras, he will say, not only is it difficult, it's useless. This Vedanta knowledge is useless. Ask for like useful stuff, really money and things like that. You ask for that, I'll give you all that. Nachiketa, however, see, here is the character of Nachiketa. Let's look at the verse number 22. Devairatrapi vichikitsitam kila tvam cha mrityu yanna sugyeyamata vakta chasya twadriganyo na labhyo nanyo varastulya etasya kaschit. Even the gods entertain doubt with regard to this thing, and O death, since you too say that it is not truly comprehended, and since any other instructor like you of this thing is not to be had, therefore there is no other boon comparable to this one. What a wonderful turnaround. He is playing jujitsu with the Lord of Death. He says, precisely, you said it's difficult. Even the gods were confused about this. Precisely, that's why I want to know about this. And so just because the gods were confused on this question, who am I, the ultimate reality of the self, and you have just said, you, the Lord of Death, you have just said it's difficult, then I will not get another teacher like you. Vaktacha asya twadrig anyona labhya. You are the Lord of Death. You are enlightened yourself. You know what happens after death. You know what remains in all this coming and going, this whirling circle of life. Is there any reality beyond this? Who will know better than you? And I've got you. If you don't tell me, you're promised. And you don't. If I don't learn it from you, if I let go of this opportunity, I'll never get the answer to this question. There is no other. Also, there is no other boon equal to this. Nanya varastulya etasya kaschit. There's nothing as good as this, as great as this. This is the most precious knowledge. This is the most precious acquisition that one can have in all the lives of which we have gone through. There's nothing greater to be had. I've shared with you once the discussion I had with Professor Parimal Patil at Harvard University. He asked this rhetorical question: why, if so few people become enlightened, it's so difficult, why would anybody enter the spiritual quest? And I gave him two answers. He gave me a third one. I have said this earlier, but let me just quickly summarize. I said, well, it's not that people do not get enlightenment. It's difficult to get. No, everybody will get enlightenment. All will get enlightenment. Why not? It's our real nature. What could prevent us from getting that? Other things we may or may not get, but this we are bound to get it. This life or next life, sometime. So this is guaranteed. When we don't know, but it's guaranteed it will happen. Then the second reason I gave was, why should one come into spiritual path? Once you have got a taste of the spiritual path, what will you do? What else will you do? What compares to this? The more we appreciate this, what else will you do? We have to pursue this path. This is the greatest of human adventures. It's the final adventure, actually. This, the mystery of this universe, mystery of ourselves, what we are, mystery of life. And he said both of these are good questions, good answers, but they are theoretical. They are somewhat, abstract. I'll give you the real reason why people stick to spiritual life, why they come to spirituality and they stick to spiritual life. This is the professor said this. And remember, this is a discussion going on at Harvard University, not even in the divinity school. This was going on in the philosophy department, Emerson Hall. And he says that because day to day, the strength that we get, peace that we get from our spiritual practices, from prayer and meditation and devotion, this keeps us going. We are getting benefits for long before enlightenment, long before God realization, whatever is promised, we are getting the benefit of that day to day. So this keeps us going. And it's a beautiful answer. Now, he says, Vakta chasya twadrig anyo na labhya. There is no other teacher like you. There is no human being can teach like God, and certainly not like the God of death. And you are an illumined being. Here I'm again reminded of a similar incident which actually happened. Swami Vivekananda, one of his disciples, Swami Vivekananda was very pleased with him. It's in Belur Math, I think, but definitely in Calcutta. And he said to disciple, ask for something. I'll give you a boon today. And the disciple said, all right, tell me what is Maya. Not what is Brahman, what is Maya? And Swami Vivekananda did this exactly what Yama is going to do. He said, ask me something else. Don't press me on this question. And then the disciple said exactly what Nachiketa said. He said, there is no other teacher like you. If I don't get an answer to this question from you, I'll never get an answer to this question. So I want this. Exactly the words which Nachiketa used. There's no other teacher like you. There's no other question like this. And there's nothing greater than this. And if I don't get an answer from you, I'll never get it in my life. I want this. And then the disciple says, Swami Vivekananda began to speak. And as I sat and listened, I lost all sense of this external world, even my body. He says the room began to spin before my eyes, and it melted away into, into light. And my own body, I couldn't feel it. My body disappeared. I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see Swami Vivekananda either, but I heard his voice. In that void, in that luminous void, his voice was going on. And I burst out. I heard myself bursting out and saying, Swami, all this is Maya. Whatever you are doing, preaching Vedanta, establishing this organization, all this is Maya. And Swami Vivekananda, and then he says, I noticed I used the Bengali diminutive. In Bengali, there are different, or Indian languages actually, there are different ways you address superiors, the teacher, or people who are of equal rank, or people who are your maybe children or social inferiors or something like that. So multiple levels of inflection are there. So in Bengali, apni, in Hindi, aap would be the way, like a thou, you address a teacher, a guru, for example. And this disciple says, I heard myself using the familiar term, tumi, you, which you use to your friends or people who are equal to you. You don't certainly say that to your guru. The moment he thought that, you see, this sense of difference, distinction, hierarchy, the moment this thought came to him, reality snapped back into place. The apparent reality which we involve, this came back, the roop and the body, and Vivekananda sitting there looking at him, smiling. And Vivekananda agreed. Vivekananda answers his question. Yes, you are right. That is all Maya. If you can give it all up, immerse yourself in meditation, realize Brahman, be one with Brahman, and be done with all this. But if you cannot, Vivekananda says, if you cannot, then come and join me, help in this noble work. That's the best possible life you can have. I mean, this is my interpretation. This much he says. This is the story. Now, if we are interested in, so what exactly is it that Vivekananda said? I also want this world to disappear into a luminous void and all that. Well, luckily we have. I mean, the disciple himself has not given any details about what exactly it is that Vivekananda said. But we have Vivekananda's lectures on Maya, 3 lectures on Maya. So I'm sure it must be some of that stuff which Vivekananda said to his disciple. At one point, I decided to give a talk on Maya, sort of summarizing what Swami Vivekananda said in those lectures. And then I was surprised to see recently that all the lectures I've given, talks I've given, which are in the Vedanta Society of New York, that is probably in one of the top 3. Not because of what I said, it's mostly what Vivekananda said, but it's because I think of the term Maya, everybody's interested. More than Atman, Brahman, God, it's Maya. People want to know what is it actually. So Nachiketa says, there is no other teacher quite like you. I want this. Then he says, Nanya Varastulya, there is no other boon equal to this. You said, ask me for something else. There's nothing else equal to this. And Yama says, Yama gets his cue here, the Lord of Death. He says, we'll see about that. Nothing equal to this. Let me give you the catalog. I remember as a kid, we didn't have these fancy catalogs. In those days in America, the big this shopping, like Sears and all, they would have expensive catalogs. So among the few people who I knew had gone abroad, one of my friends, so they had come back from Germany and they had these expensive catalogs, in 1 or 2 and I would leaf through that in surprise and think, there's so many fine, the catalog itself was so glossy, and there's so many attractive looking things, from furniture to gadgets and whatnot. I was amazed that so many things are available in the world. So Yama is going to pull out the Sears catalog. I said, you think there's nothing equal to this? You're a little boy. You have no idea. Come, here is Amazon. Now you don't even need a catalog. You just go to Amazon and see what all is available. Though everything in the world is available for you. You need, of course, desire plus ability to pay plus willingness to pay. But everything is set out before you. Now Yama is going to do that. He's going to pull out the catalog and show Nachiketa what all is available, what he could ask for. 23. Shatayusha putra pautran vrinishva bahun pashun hasti hiranyamashvan bhumer mahadaya tanam vrinishva swayam cha jiva sharado yavadichyasi. Talk about temptation with a capital T. And all this for a little boy. Yama says, ask for sons and grandsons, and that will be centenarians. Ask for many animals, elephants, and gold, and horses, and a vast expanse of the earth, and you yourself live for as many years as you like. So what all people could want? Family, you want, husbands, wives, children, grandchildren, and not only the children, he covers his, he qualifies it by saying, they will live for 100 years. They will outlive you. One of the most shocking things, the greatest tragedies possible in human life, is to lose a child. Grandparents die, parents die. That's in the natural course of things. It's sad. But to lose a child, I mean, one can only imagine how devastating that is, how shocking, how tragic that is. And so Yama knows that. And he says that you will have many children and grandchildren, and they'll be all long-lived. They will live for 100 years, all of them. And yeah, but who's going to feed that brood? Who's going to educate them? I think it costs $1 million, something like that, to send 2 children to college here in the United States. So who's going to, I don't know, I mean, something like that maybe. So who's going to take care of all of those children? It'll be a misery to have lots of children and no way to feed them. And he says, no, here is vast wealth. ask for wealth, and all of this in one boon. You can ask for all of this in one boon. Bahun Pashun, lots of cattle. Why cattle? Remember, in those days, cattle was wealth, was equivalent to wealth. Like it starts with the gift of cattle. Do you remember? So cattle, not just cattle, elephants. So it was a sign of prestige to own elephants. What good are elephants? No good. That's the point. you have these magnificent beasts in your garage. So it's not very different now. You have this gas guzzling huge SUVs or something, it's like the elephant. And from there, the term has come, white elephant, which absorbs all of your resources and an income, doesn't do much. So elephants, ask for elephants. I remember once, and monasteries, they measured their wealth and property by owning not only cattle, but elephants. I remember one head of a traditional monastery came to our monastery once in Deoghar when I was a novice. And so this head, who is a traditional monk, so he has to establish his dominance over our head, the head of our ashram. So the first thing he asked in Hindi, Kitne hathi hain aapke? How many elephants do you have? And the poor Swami said, well, we have a few cows, but no elephants. So that's it. You're defeated. You don't have elephants. I'm obviously a superior monk because I have elephants. I remember once one of our Swamis, he was the head of our ashram in Chennai. And from a traditional ashram, there was a procession. And the head of that ashram was going on the back of an elephant. And seeing the Swami of our Madras Mutt, the Madras monastery, on this walking down in front of him, there are a lot of other people also. This other Swami who was seated on the elephant, he recognized, oh, this is the head of the local Ramakrishna mission. So he blessed him like this from the top of the elephant, like this. After all, you're much higher on the elephant. Now our Swami, not to be undone, not to be outdone, he from there on the road, he blessed him with both hands like this. Elephants. I'm going to give you not only cattle, but many elephants and horses. And which is very expensive. This is hiranyam, lots of gold, lots of money. In today's world, it would translate into cars and private jets and whatnot, not horses and elephants, but so on. And lots of money, millions and billions of dollars. And how would all this come? Bhumer Mahadayatanam. You will have a vast kingdom. The commentator says that you will be a king of a kingdom. Only kings would have such kind of property. So that's what you will be. Ask for all of this. And he knows, you get all of this and you die quickly, or you are sickly and old. No. You live as long as you like. And the commentator adds, with perfect health. With perfect health. There's this popular saying, you spend your health in earning money all your life, work hard and ruin your health, spend your health in earning money, and then spend all of your money in regaining your health. So, and here Yama says, none of that. You will be healthy, you will live for 100 years. So ask for this. Now, we can ask ourselves, if somebody comes and gives this, you have an option. Either you get the knowledge of Brahman, which is basically a Vedanta class and nothing more than that, or you will become enormously wealthy and you will have a family, large extended family, and you will have all gadgets and houses and cars and everything, and you'll be healthy and you'll live long. It sounds tempting. Why would you want something like that, some kind of abstract philosophy? What's the point? Take this. All that we have to remember is this. I'll give you a very good example. Suppose somebody says now, I'll give you power and wealth and make you the president of the United States. I'll give you $1 billion and I'll give, you will have children and grandchildren all will be good and healthy, and you'll be healthy and long lived and all of that. That sounds great. But one thing, it's all going to be a dream. It will be in your dream. And the option is you can wake up. One of the two. Either you wake up or I'll give you all this in your dream. All of us will say, oh, that's no good. Not even everything that you can give in your dream. You don't have to give me. I can imagine things in my dream also. None of that counts to 1 second of wakefulness, because that's not real. That's not real. Vedanta is waking up to reality. Rest of this is delusion. There, what Yama is offering him is a string of zeros. You want more zeros? I'll give you more and more zeros. What Nachiketa is asking for is the one. So can't you have both? You can have the one, and all the zeros will come and go. It's makes no difference to you. Or you can live in the realm of delusion, in the house of Maya, in Edwin Arnold's translation, about the life of the Buddha, the house of Maya. You can have that. But your problem with that is dreams will break one day. And when they'll break, they'll all be gone. Not only gone, you will see it was never there at all. It was a dream. It was a delusion. The whole thing was a waste. Or Lord Yama says that if there's anything else in your mind, don't be shy. Ask me. I'll give it to you. 24. Etattulyam yadimanyase varam grinishva vittam chirajivikam cha mahabhumau nachiketastvamedhi kamanang tva kamabhajam karomi. If you think some other boon to be equal to this, ask for that. Ask for wealth and a long life. O Nachiketa, you can become a ruler over a vast region. I make you fit. I will make you fit for the enjoyment of all delectable things. So, Etat Tulyam. If there's something else equal to what I have said, I showed you the entire catalog. Is there anything else that you have got in your mind? I can get that for you too. And you basically ask for vast wealth. Put together the wealth of all the billionaires, Bezos and Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all of that you will get it. Live long, Chirajivi, can live a long life as long as you want. Be the emperor of the earth, Mahabhumo, rule over an empire for a long time. There have been such people. So do that. I will make you the enjoyer of all desires, whatever you can desire. And all of that in one boon. This over-eagerness of Yama is itself suspicious. He's trying to pull a fast one on you. He's getting desperate. He says, I'll just basically give you anything in this universe, but don't ask me for that. It just increases your interest, your eagerness to know that, oh, that one thing. So this is a theme in the Upanishads. The great sage Yajnavalkya, who is the hero of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, which we'll get to hopefully someday, the Lord willing. At the end of his career as a teacher, he decides to become a monk, and he had 2 wives. He renounces life, worldly life, and he divides his wealth among the 2 wives. One of the wives is Katyayani and Maitreyi. One of the wives, Katyayani, is happy. She's got all the bank accounts and the mansions and the cars. I think he was a sage. I don't think he had much anyway. But anyway, but apparently he was quite well-to-do. He got a lot of government grants from the kings and the emperors. And the other wife, Maitreyi, is intrigued. Said, why are you doing this, husband? You're giving up all of this comfort and luxury and everything and going off into the forest to do what? What is that you're seeking for which you're giving everything away? All this which you are dividing with, and giving me my share, will it give me that which you are seeking? And Yajnavalkya was very pleased with this question. And he says, my dear, whatever I'm giving you, this will give you comfort in this world. As long as you're alive, it'll make for a comfortable life. Yes, it is true. Money makes for a comfortable life. When we are sick, money makes for a comfortable hospital bed and little less misery while dying. That's it. So this is what my wealth can do for you. But it will not give you immortality. It will not unlock the secret of the universe. It will not take you beyond the shores of samsara into freedom, which is what I am seeking or what I am going into. Then Maitreyi asks him, I want that. I don't want this wealth. And then he instructs, and that's the famous dialogue. Actually, there's a dialogue between husband and wife, Yagyavalkya and Maitreyi. Similarly here, Nachiketa is being tempted. All desires, whatever possible desires, I'm offering you, but don't ask for that one. This interesting phrase, Kamanam tva kama bhajam karomi, I'll make you the enjoyer of all desires. It's a bit like in today's world, Amazon Prime, all desires are there before you. So if you have got enough money, you can keep on buying. At least you can do computer shopping, looking around, spend your days. This is nice, that is nice. This is what he is offering. Now we will see, he will offer something even more attractive next, that we will see next time. Let me see the comments. Pravir Babu is saying, what is the source of these fourfold qualifications? Is it coming from the Upanishads? Yes, it's coming from the Upanishads. It's not in one place, it's collected from the Upanishads. So it's in the later text, like Vedanta Sar, you will say Sadhan Chatushtaya Sampanna, with a fourfold qualification. But if you trace it back, it's been collected from different Upanishads. So this Upanishad, for example, it tests your dispassion, Vairagya. It tests your eagerness, Mumukshutva, to attain enlightenment. That's why I said, initially it's good to study a text like Vedanta Sara, which is sort of a finished system. It seems very neat, geometrical, but you have to, now we are going back to the source, the Upanishads themselves. So it will seem rather messy, but this is the original. It's from this that this whole system of Vedanta has emerged in time. Then Alpana is asking, what if the desire for liberation is getting lesser because the understanding is not to be sought, it's ours to begin with? Getting lesser in the sense, if you find it, it's wonderful. I've got it. But lesser in the sense that now I'm getting mixed up with the world again, then you're asking for trouble. It's like, I know this is a dream and I know I can wake up. Well, let me dream a little more. Then it's not working. There should be an intense desire to wake up first. What will happen in that case is, you'll still continue to be spiritual, but time will pass and we will not come into any kind of solid realization. This life will pass away. Next life will come back with a more intense desire to realize God. That's what will happen. Sean Lee says, how can I show dispassion to the mundane life as we are living in the worldly life? Because you're living in the worldly life. You don't have a mundane life, then you can't show dispassion towards it. In the middle of that life only you can show dispassion. See, there's so many people who are householders but enlightened. And I'll always say Krishna, the teacher, and Arjuna, the student, both of them are householders. Here Yama, the teacher, is a householder. He's a god, but he's a householder. He's not a monk. Most of the Vedic rishis from whom the Upanishads came, they are householders actually. As you mentioned, the more we listen to Vedanta, be spiritual, then we can be dispassionate to the worldly life. To become dispassionate to worldly life is the goal of life? No, to become enlightened is the goal of life. Dispassion is only the way of disentangling yourself from the net of samsara. The whole problem is we are consciousness, but it's entangled with the body and mind. Entangled means don't think of it as physically entangled. It's just our misunderstanding. It's just our ignorance. And but that becomes the basis of worldly life. that I am a mixture of consciousness. I understand consciousness, but I feel I am a mixture of consciousness and mind and body and senses and this person. So from there to coming to realization, I am consciousness and consciousness alone. The whole thing appears in me, the consciousness. This entanglement, this is possible. It requires a little dispassion towards things which we are entangled with. Gaurav says, I have the same question like Alpana. When we understand that what I need to attain is already attained, any form of apparent attainment is at the level of transactional world, the desire for liberation at least reduces a lot. Is mumukshutvam preliminary qualification which vanishes after understanding Vedanta? Ultimately, it will vanish because you realize you are ever free, but only if you realize. Before that, if it vanishes, it just shows the like it is feeble. Then mumukshutvam is feeble. If my thirst is satisfied by the picture of a bottle of water, I have seen what water is like, good, I don't want any more water, then I was not really thirsty to begin with. So I don't want to just see the bottle of water. I want to open it and I want to drink it and want to quench my thirst. That kind of eagerness must be there. Yes, in one ultimate sense, you're right. Both Gaurav and Alpana are right. If you look at enlightened persons, the Jivan Muktas, so do they have the driving urge, burning urge for God realization? No, there comes a time when they are fulfilled, when they are at peace. If they are always desperate for God realization till the very end of their lives, and there's nobody to demonstrate the fulfillment of a Jivan Mukta, then it would be a rather unpleasant kind of path. But there is an end to it. We were reading in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna yesterday. He says there is an end to spiritual striving, where it becomes natural, the presence of God is naturally felt, or that I am the Atman is naturally realized. Rita says, the word assimilate is used often in reference to absorbing some teachings. It seems to be a very important word, but the meaning is not very clear. Nutrition, for example, it means one thing. In social sciences, the word assimilate may refer to a process by which an immigrant changes behaviors to fit in with the larger group. In Vedanta, does it mean that a person who used to have a temper is now more patient, exercises samadhana? Could it be that to assimilate a teaching means to transform the character? Both. Nutrition, it means one thing, and social science is another thing. These are good examples. Assimilate means make that teaching your own. It's no longer a definition, what is viveka, what is vairagya, dispassion, discernment. It's no longer a definition I learned in a textbook or heard from a Vedanta teacher. I actually feel it. It's no longer that I begin to understand that I'm not exactly the body. I'm the witness of the body, but it becomes a fact for me. Another characteristic of assimilation is, as you said, it's a good example. Social sciences, you change your behaviors to assimilate. Our behaviors change because of our understanding. So this new understanding, this new realization, let us say, it will change our behavior. Our behavior right now is dictated by a kind of realization. Our realization right now is that I am the body, and therefore I behave like this. When I really understand or see that I am not the body, when I really feel God exists and I am in the presence of God all the time, or that ultimate reality is existence, consciousness, bliss, and that is not a phrase, a catchphrase. No, I feel that. Then my behavior has to change. It will automatically flow from there. So that's, in that sense also assimilation is correct. I mentioned it in another context. In that in one of the classes in the Harvard Divinity School on Buddhism, there was a paper which discussed two views of enlightenment. One you might call a paradigm shift view, another one you might call the ethical manifestation view. I think the words speak for themselves. The paradigm shift view is that that was a Buddhist thing, but I'm putting it in Vedantic terms. I am not, oh, I am not the body and mind, which I thought, which was my paradigm earlier. I am pure being, pure awareness. Oh, these people and this world is not separate from me. They are all I alone and appearing in this way. Oh, I am not a limited being, born, aging, and dying. I am immortal. This paradigm shift, not just reading about it, but you see it for as now this is your reality shifts. This is the reality. This is one type of assimilation. This is basically this is enlightenment. But there's another meaning of enlightenment in the Buddhist paradigm, in the Buddhist context. Are you able to show the compassion, the purity of character, the utter self-control of a Buddha? Then you are enlightened, not just because your paradigm has shifted or whatever. So, ethical manifestation model. And both of these are combined when Swami Vivekananda says, religion is the manifestation of the divinity already within us. So the manifestation of the divinity already within us, a magnificent definition of spirituality. You must know this, your paradigm must shift. Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham. I am of the nature of Shiva. I am of the nature of consciousness. I am of the nature of unlimited fulfillment. This paradigm shift must come. But also, it must be expressed in thought, word, and deed. Swami Vivekananda said, my mission in life can be put in a few words. It is to teach unto mankind their inner divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. So that is in both senses. Assimilation is a lower stage of this, and this is, of course, I'm talking about enlightenment. One needs to assimilate spiritual ideas, correct? Punita ji is asking, is Rita's question related to what you have conveyed to us, Uttarakhand Sadhu's reminders about honoring knowledge gained? Prapt Gyan ka adar kare. That's where the shoe pinches for many of us. Correct. Honoring the knowledge gained means we know enough. We know a lot, especially these days. Vast amounts of spiritual knowledge, spiritual supermarket are available to us. Yet we can put into practice, that is manifest in our lives, only a tiny fraction of it. Compare it to the lives of many saints. They're not in how many books they have read, but how much compassion they had, how much purity of character they had, so that they were able to manifest much more. Swami Vivekananda says, an ounce of practice worth 20 tons of tall talk. So this is the difference between manifestation and honoring the knowledge gained. Honoring the knowledge gained is a struggle before enlightenment. But before that, honoring the knowledge gained is a struggle, because when we try to honor it, that means hold on to it in our day-to-day lives, immediately all our past conditioning comes up, and there's this huge battle. Lord Buddha's mother's name was Maya Devi. Jennifer said, one of my teachers told me that one must want enlightenment as much as a drowning man wants. It's a classic example. We must drop the world as if it's burning hot plate. Yes, these are two classic examples in Vedanta. The teacher who takes the student's asking, why don't I realize God? Teacher takes him and sort of dunks him in water in the river, doesn't allow him to come up. And when he comes up gasping for air, teacher said, how did you feel? The student said, I could have given anything for one breath of air. So when you feel like that, you want God like that, when you're gasping for God, you will realize God. The other example is Deepta Shira, with your head on fire. Imagine this, your hair is on fire, and you want to jump in the nearest pool of water. So this is the burn. With that kind of a burning question, you go to the teacher. Krishnamurti Vishwanathan says the Vartikakara, that means Sureshwaracharya, Shankaracharya's student, explains it in one of his works that one experiences complete peace when the realized person digests the prapancha and makes it part of his own. Yes, he has said it in his Vartika, the commentary on the Dakshinamurti Stotram. Just like the physical body digests food and is no longer troubled by it. So it's a beautiful question. I'll leave you with that. He asks the question, the Sureshwaracharya. He says, can you eat up the universe? Can you digest it in your tummy? You can put the whole universe in your tummy. What he means is, the moment you realize you're Brahman, your existence itself, the whole universe floats in you, like a shadow, not like a boat in water. It's like a shadow in you. You are the reality of this universe. Then you can be said to have gulped down the universe and digested prapancha, the whole universe in your tummy. That's what he means. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.